Positive energy all the time. I hope y'all doing great. I wasn't expecting to go live tonight. I was working and then I found out Dr. Baxter Montgomery passed away on the 26th. And I just want to come over and pay my respects and talk about that situation. And that is somebody I've been watching a long time. Hope y'all doing great. This is something I'm really not happy to talk about, but I have to. It's a very, very unfortunate situation. I've got some people that's vegans I know that's texting me right now. This is a very strange situation. To say the least. It's definitely something to keep you on your toes. Because as I've been saying recently a lot, you have to work to stay alive. You're not going to just stay alive. You're going to have to work. To stay alive. You can't just think you're going to stay alive. And that's for sure. You got to put some work in. Baxter Montgomery, renowned cardiologist and founder of Montgomery Heart and Wellness, passed away unexpectedly on May 26, 2025, at the age of 59. The official cause of death was cardiac arrest. A tragic irony for a man who dedicated his life to heart health and disease reversal. He was one of the top cardiologists. He was a plant-based vegan, pushing for long life and good health and helping people with heart conditions. And he ended up succumbing to cardiac arrest at 59. Now, I'm not going to speculate. I got some things, but I'm not going to speculate today. I'll talk about it probably later on this week. But I will say that a lot of people uh, went plant based after they already had problems. And I'll just leave that there. I can't say for sure that's him, but I do kind of think so. Because I was looking at him and, he wasn't looking well for some years. So I believe he was fighting something, but I'm going to wait and find out for sure before I get into it. But a lot of times, plant based eating preserve you longer than you would have made it. And a lot of people get into it at a later age. There's already been so much damage done, and they pretty much trying to maintain. Now, another thing is doctors work a lot. And being plant based gives you extra energy. You don't get sluggish as much. So you could work yourself to death too. But I'll have to wait to see if they put the information out. If he was plant based, trying to reverse problems he had, he wouldn't tell anybody because he wouldn't want to discourage people from eating right. In other words, if I got some serious health issues and I'm eating plant based that I know is good for me, some people, if they know I got health issues, they won't try to change because they get that confused. You see what I'm saying? They'll get that confused and they'll look at that and be like, oh, see, because they think it's like a miracle. Uh, uh, they think if you go plant based, it's like a miracle type of situation. But that's not true. It's a situation that most times is going to expand your life, but this is not something that just can happen all the time, especially depending on what kind of damage you had to your body. So if you had damage already, then it'll just kind of maintain you to a certain point. It might not. It might not do miracle work, but I'm willing to bet he was working himself too much and really not knowing how much he was working. We'll have to wait and see, but most likely he was doing too many surgeries. He wasn't getting no breaks. He was pushing himself, pushing himself, pushing himself. And the food can only do so much. The food is not going to be able to stop your heart from overworking. You still got to rest, right? So, I've been trying to tell everybody, you got to get rest. Sometime stay in the bed. Do not always hop up out of the bed. Sometimes you have to stay in the bed. Being plant based will have you running on fumes because you don't get sluggish like the typical person. So they're going to be sleepy with all that meat and stuff in their stomach. They got to go to sleep. But that's why so many people use substances to try to keep them awake because we eat all that heavy food, all that cheese and meat and stuff. It's gonna slow you down. But the opposite for when you plant based, you're not gonna get that type of sleepy. So now you could be overworking your heart without even being aware of it, for sure. And we have a tendency to go longer, which ain't a good idea. But you're not aware that you going that long. So it's a wake up call. It's going to be a lot of discussion on that because you still got to try to get your rest. And it's much harder to get your rest when you plant based because you're not the same type of tired. Because you have tired, and you have sleepy, and you have sluggish. And we don't get sluggish. And so you can end up like working too much because you don't have all that heavy food on your stomach to put you to sleep. So that's definitely an issue because I deal with that myself. I'll be up a long time, you know what I'm saying? And I be drinking coffee sometimes. So, I got to cut back. I got to really, that's a wake up call to me like, okay, you know, you got to, I got to make myself uh, just lay down and just stop. Because if I go by my body it ain't going to tell me to stop. The only thing that'll slow me down is if I eat a heavy meal, that'll do it. If I eat a heavy meal, but a lot of times, you know, it's going to digest so fast that it might digest before you know, you might get a little drowsy, but because the food digests so quick, you might not really get sleepy. But one thing that will help if you plant based and you moving and moving and moving, one thing that will help is muscle building because with muscle building, you got to work out. So you got to work out. You got to lift weights. You got to work out. But you also have to take in so many calories. So for me, what's been helping me get rest is working out more, and then I got to eat more. So I'll be out of there. I'm saying I'll be out of there, and I be out of there at a certain different times. That's something he don't do. So when people see me, they say, "Bro, you've been up all night." But what they don't know, I probably just woke up at 6 in the evening or something. I probably went to sleep at like I might go to sleep at 12, noon, 1. I wake up at 6 o'clock. Sometime longer than that, depending on how much exercise I did and how much I ate. So that's how I've been getting my sleep from the workouts and the more food. I have to eat more food to put the muscle on. I can't put the muscle on without more food. But when you take in more food and you didn't work out harder, you're gonna be knocked out. You know what I'm saying? So I be knocked out. I be knocked out. But then I wake up and it's like I got a lot of work to do. It's about 6 or 7 before I get to going. Boom, I get the coffee. That's where I gotta stop. And then I work all through the night or whatever. And once I get off schedule, it's because I work for myself. So once I get off schedule, it's crazy. So I'm just sleeping whenever. Because when you I got to start back writing in about a week. And when you're writing, you know, you know, there's no schedule. You just write until you stop. You write till you get to a spot in the book where you don't want to write no more. You gotta rejuvenate. But when you get into writing, and because I'm writing historically and I'm pulling up my history, I just well then this and this and then this and this and then this and this and then oh I forgot that and then before I look up, I've been writing how many hours? I didn't cover some ground in my life, you know. So you only gonna sleep. You only sleep whenever you stop writing, which could be, who knows, could be 4 hours, it could be 8 hours, it could be 12 hours. It all depends on what you're writing and when you kind of run out of steam. You know what I mean? Like that. So it's crazy because recently I just did my top 10 doctors, and he was in a list of my top 10 plant based doctors. So in honor to him, I'm going to play that back. All right, I'm going to play that back to honor the brother. Check it out. Here's another one of my favorites that's on YouTube a lot. And that's my brother, Dr. Baxter Montgomery. Dr. Baxter Montgomery is once again another top notch doctor. Top of the line. Top of the line. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's got all the credentials and has been doing it many, 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 many years. Many years. These are older people that really know their stuff. Okay? Well, Dr. Baxter Montgomery, MD, cardiovascular diseases, and cardiology. Okay? Is the top of the line. Okay? Specialties, cardiovascular diseases, cardiology, heart and vascular services. University of Texas at Galveston in 1990. Fellowship, University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, cardiovascular disease, 1996. UTHSC Division of Cardiology, 1997. Memorial Hermann Texas Medical Center, Baylor College of Medicine in 1993. He served in Alief, Bel Air, Houston, Missouri City, and Stanford. He's not no type of a joke. You can also check him out at his website, MontgomeryHeart.com. So check out www.MontgomeryHeart.com. These are good websites to save in case you do have a family, have some problem. You might want to contact these doctors. Improve your health and reclaim your life at Montgomery Heart and Wellness. Montgomery Heart and Wellness was founded in 1997 as Houston Cardiac Association, operating out of the state-of-the-art medical facility in Houston, Texas. The MHW Health Interventions utilize advanced diagnostic and therapeutic tools to evaluate many individuals with advanced chronic illness. MHW's holistic approach has been scientifically validated and shown to effectively control serious cardiovascular disease and other chronic illnesses. Okay. He's always on YouTube working hard. 25 years of heart failure eradicated in 1 month. 1 month. He eradicated 25 years of heart failure. So, yeah, rest in peace to the brother. He was really good at what he do. I did notice he was thinning. He didn't really look that strong. So I believe he was fighting something. Most likely that's what made him go vegan. Most likely. I could see his face was fluctuating a little bit. He was looking a little thin. He was pushing through. And he probably didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to discourage anybody from eating right. Because sometimes people get the wrong idea and think it make you Superman. It doesn't make you Superman. A lot of times, the standard American diet being damaged you so bad that when you go plant-based, it'll just sustain you some, but it won't. Sometimes it won't do a total repair, depending on how bad it was. Things like bad car accidents or things like me when I got stabbed up. Plant-based can't fix that. It could just help you maintain, but it can't fix that damage. It can just maintain you, but it's definitely what you want to do because you want to get as many years out of your life as you possibly can. So it's definitely a benefit. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm not gonna really harp on this. I just didn't want to wait and do it tomorrow. I just found out about an hour and a half ago. I was gonna do it tomorrow, but I said no, I ain't gonna do it tomorrow. Let me do it now. Even if you look at his face on this picture, it's a little bit thinner than his face on some of his older pictures when he was younger. But he did a great job. He helped a lot of people that had heart issues. He helped a lot of people. And he was one of the best to watch because he was really dealing with real medicine and eating right. He wasn't like just somebody like me that's just a vegan. He had to do real medical procedures with real medical equipment and medical medicine and all that. So he had to use the medicine and everything. You know what I'm saying? He had to really give you what you have to take when you get in heart surgery. It's not really no shortcuts around some of the stuff you have to do when you go into the medical service and have a problem. There's certain things you can't shortcut. You know, I remember one time I had a tooth, and I went to the dentist, and the dentist said, "You got a tooth. I want you to take these pills, and then I want you to come back in like 10 days or something like that. When they gone, then I'm gonna pull the tooth." Me being a plant-based vegan, I don't want to take no medicine. So I just threw it on the dresser. I ain't taking this stuff. So I didn't take it. So I went to the dentist. He said, "Did you take the medicine?" I said, "Yeah." That's why lying ain't no good. He pulled the tooth. And when he pulled the tooth, all the poison went into my body. I had big knots up under my arm. And that's when I lived in Harvey, Illinois with my second wife. And I'm laying there and I can't hardly do nothing. I can't hardly move or nothing. You know what I'm saying? it could have killed me. And probably the only reason it didn't, because I was plant-based. And what I was eating and stuff fought all that poison. So then I went back to the dentist and told him, he said, "Sir, you could have died. That's why I told you to take the medicine to get rid of that from under your tooth before, because if we pull a tooth, it was going to run through your body. It could have killed you." So that's why, sometimes you still got to deal with the medicine. Even if you plant-based and you're like, "Nah, I don't want to take that." You got to. You have to. I had a friend in Hawaii, and he was doing some weed work. He was from the Caribbean, and he chopped his finger. And when he chopped his finger, he chopped a piece of his finger. He wrapped it up and he tried to treat it with herbs and all that. He was treating it with herbs and he was taking teas and all that. And it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And when he finally went to the doctor, they had to cut it up off like this. And they told him every day if he would have waited another day, they would have had to cut this off. If he'd have waited another day, they would have had to cut the hand off. If he would have waited another day, they would have had to cut that part of the arm off. And then another day he would have passed away. That's what they told him. Because he tried to heal it with herbs and stuff like that. It's all this stuff you can't heal all this stuff with herbs and stuff. You might be able to, but you might not know which herb. How do you know which herb? These plants haven't been studied thoroughly like that. So you just are doing a shot in the dark. So when we go to these doctors and stuff, we have to sometimes take those prescriptions, unfortunately. And you never know which one you got to take and which one is a scam or is dangerous or do something else to you. So it's just a crazy situation. But rest in peace to Brother Montgomery, Dr. Montgomery. I mean, he did a lot of good stuff for a lot of people, man. He helped a lot of people that was out of here. Got they heart surgery, slimmed them up, got them on a better way to eat, got the weight off of them. I know them people is hurt. All them people whose lives he saved a lot of lives. I used to watch him all the time because I thought it was fascinating because it was real medical. To hear a plant-based vegan talk about real medical procedures, it was super interesting. And it's crazy because I was finna interview him over here. This channel I'm gonna be doing interviews, and he was on the list. I was gonna get him over here, man. He was gonna be one of my first guests. Man, I wanted to talk to him so bad. I've been watching him for years. But he's a good brother. He did a good job, and I'm sure the food sustained him as long as it could. But ain't no telling what was going on if he had preconditions. No, they haven't said anything. He might have preconditions, but definitely, I know he was working too hard. Doctors have a ridiculous schedule. They have to sleep at the hospital sometimes, 4 hours like that. They got a room for them to sleep because they got to run into these emergency surgeries. It's a brutal job. A lot of people don't know, like those type of surgeons and the people that do stuff like when you get shot or stabbed up, those doctors that save those, they don't get to go home like that. They have to sleep at the hospital. They only get to go home rarely. They have crazy schedules because whenever somebody's hurt and the threat of passing away, they gotta come do it. That's why so many doctors would be on pharmaceuticals and would be on substances to stay away. It's an unbelievable job. They would have no idea, would they, G. Rattle, doctors, what they have to do, like the top doctors that got to do everything. It's unbelievable. It really is. They have to sleep at the hospital. They have places where they live in these hospitals. You'd be surprised. Nice little rooms, nice little, but that's where they be at. And they wake them up and they got to come do a surgery. Think about it. Somebody's got to be there to do surgery 24 hours around the clock. And think about that. Just think about that. Somebody's got to be there at these hospitals to do surgeries 24 hours around, whenever an ambulance comes. Yeah, you can't go home and on your way home, an ambulance is coming with somebody. Okay? Just think about that. It's unbelievable because nurses put a lot of miles on. My ex was a nurse, or is a nurse, but she don't work with that no more. She's doing something else. But it's a lot of miles. I mean, it's rough. It's a lot. He said, some are on call and any time during your off day, you could be called. I mean, yeah, there is no off day. There is no off day because it's life or death. It's life or death. Most of them live close to the hospital. They gotta live, yeah. They live close to the hospital. Seriously. A lot of stress on the marriages. So rest in peace to the brother. That's all I really got to say. You know, I know his family is going through something. And there should be motivation for all of us, you know. You have to fight to live. You got to fight every day to live. Stop waking up thinking you just going to live. You actually have to think about staying alive. Seriously. That's the only way you protect yourself from the many things that will unalive you. That's the only way you're going to avoid bad car accidents, other accidents, uh, uh, violent situations. Be prepared for fires to escape. That's the only way because there's that many things trying to take you out. Seriously. You have to be like, oh, I got to drink more water. Oh, man, you got to do like everything to stay alive. That's got to be your number one priority over anything, over money or anything. Because that's the only way you can get money. That's the only way you can have a relationship. You got to be alive. Seriously. You have to think about that every day. Your whole life got to be about staying alive first, then everything else. Because if that's not happening, then the other stuff not going to happen. See, everything is based on that. You really have to work on that. And then you won't have flab on you. You won't be weak. You'll exercise. You won't, you'll watch. Oh, I don't want all this salt. I don't want all this sugar. This too much sugar. Oh, this too much sweets. This too much this. I'm not getting enough this. Like you really have to work. And then even then it could be limited because the body can only do so much. So rest in peace to the brother. I hope y'all all have a good night for the rest of the night. Stay positive and, eat right and exercise and be safe. Victory and vegan.